go. All right. Well, welcome to Leadership Academy number 5. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Doing good? All right. Excellent. Well, very excited about you guys being here. Thank you for being a part of our Leadership Academy. This is the best place for you to learn to grow personally, professionally, financially, and become a big leader in the Great Plains Division. My name is Nick Matlack. If I haven't met you, as the division manager, and I've been with the company for 13 years. And this is truly one of my favorite times of the year to be with Cutco. And I hope that it is for you as well. A lot of you, this is your first fall you're going through the business. This is the first time you're getting into maybe a leadership role or thinking about what's next and what's possible with our company. And I just came out of a really exciting meeting yesterday for our CSPs and all of our development of them, and just breaking down the numbers. I mean, if you can grab me my cork board journal in there too, I want to share some stats. But what I want to talk about is one of the things we discussed, and yesterday was our development day for a full day. I know Claire was there. I know Britton was there. We had a lot of our leaders. And when we were breaking down numbers, when we were looking at goals for next year, we really honed in on one thing. And so if you want to write it down in your notes, that one thing for you right now is that 2019 starts now. Right? And you can't just flip a switch. You can't just look at it and say, no, the cork one. There should be one that's cork in there, like tan. I don't know if it's like a journal or something. Anyway, you can't just flip a switch, right? And one of the reasons I share that with you is because for 2019 and beyond, you've got to be able to build those habits right now, right? So what I want you to do as an exercise real quick is I want you to make a little list. And I want you to write down what are the habits that you want to have in 2019? What are the best version of you habits? Is that being punctual and on time every day, right? Is that the habit of waking up earlier, okay? And maybe you want to compare this to something like your New Year's resolution, right? But what are the habits that are best version of yourself, right? What are the next level habits in order for Tyler to get to where he wants to be in 2019? And you really start to hone in on what those habits would be. And then you start to ask yourself, well, how do I need to develop those habits? What do I need to commit to? They say that it takes a very short amount of time to break a habit, but a very long amount of time to develop a habit. And I would say that long amount of time is not 21 days. It's probably more like 40 or 50 or 60. Do you know how many days are left for the year right now? That's something that's always fun to look at and say, all right, well, in the next blank amount of days, it's a new year. I look at my calendar right now, and what it says is that as of today, there are 46 days left in the year of 2018. So 6 weeks, right? And you think about the next 6 weeks, you think about the habits that you want to develop, and you think about doing it relentlessly, day in and day out, no matter what, not letting those excuses sneak in, right? And then what that's going to do for all of the excitement for 2019 and beyond. So I just want to come to you real quick that you're in the right place at the right time, and I want you to just remember the hashtag, and the hashtag is Cutco through college, right? This is the premier opportunity to go through your young part of your life, whether you're in school or you're not in school. I don't know of another company that offers the freedom and the flexibility and the financial gains, right? And the skills for life and the resume booster and the fun that you can gain from Vector Marketing. I think back to my college years, they were not normal college years. They were far beyond what all my peers were experiencing, right? And it was things that were leveling me up in my life, in my business, in my finances, in my relationships, right, with other people, in my ability to get work. It's so much fun to have lots of options to move into, right? So, one thing you might want to write down about what this job does, if you create it as Cutco through college, is this: it puts you in a position of choice. And when life has choices, life is more exciting. Life is more fulfilled. Life is more fun. So the whole principle of us opening this up is make sure you put yourself in a position of choice. And those habits that you have over the next 6 weeks will help you gain the goals that you want for 2019 to be able to have all the choices and the options that you want ahead of you. To be able to have multiple job offers on the table and you can pick the one that you like most, right? To be able to have multiple companies that are headhunting. There's nothing better than that when people are competing for you, right? In your field of study, whatever that may be. How great would that feel if you had multiple companies coming to you and saying, Claire will offer you, this kind of income and this kind of benefit package. And you're like, yeah, well, this other company, your competition just offered me this. So if you really want me, can you step it up? By the way, There are competitions like that happening for people out there all the time. And what you do right now can help you get into that race. Sound cool? So a really big thing to keep in mind is this is not a summer job. This is not just a 1 month or one campaign opportunity. This is something that literally will be one of the highlights of your young life, you know? And who knows if it's 13 years like it has been for me, but I'll tell you this quote: Vector is a great place to be until you figure out where you want to be. And I know we have a lot of people that can attest to that, a lot of people that can tell you that. So if you don't know where you want to be in college, or you don't know where you want to be after college, well, that's totally fine. You might not even know what you want to accomplish with Vector yet, and that's totally fine. But here's what's not okay, right? Leaving Vector just because you don't know what it is, right? That's not okay. This is an amazing home. This is an amazing place to be, right? You know, on my worst days, the first people I want to be surrounded by are Vector people. On my bad days, the first people I want to call, right, when I get back in my car and I'm upset about a conversation, or people I met through, right, you guessed it, Vector. My best buds are from Vector, you know, and that's what I want. I want this to be the premier opportunity for somebody between the ages of 18 and 25 in Oklahoma. I want this to be the coolest job with the most fun, with the amazing, like, best culture, the most amazing family in the entire state. And I can't do that alone. I need your help to create that kind of identity. And those of you that are going to leave us, whether that's in the next few months or maybe in the next few years, I want you to be able to look at Vector Marketing in 2023 and 2025. And I want you to be able to say, man, look at how far Great Plains Division has come. They're doing $7 million in sales now. Holy crap. The Oklahoma City State Fair just knocked out $1 million just at that fair. Oh my gosh. Right? Did you see the photo that they took at that conference? They had 9 people driving black Beamers. Right? Did you see that epic trip that they just took? They took 20 people to go to Croatia or whatever it is, right? I know I'm going to Paris this year, but right? And I want you to be in whatever position you're in for whatever company you're in, and to be able to look back at that and come to our SC2 and give the talk about how Vector changed your life. And be the person who gives back and says, man, I remember the Great Plains Division when it's in its infancy years. I remember when we only had this small group of people at our leadership academies. Now you guys have a warehouse. You know, I remember when it was cool to get a table. Now you guys are sponsoring things, and you are the number one at the top of that list. That's the vision that I've got. What vision do you have, right? How about this? 6-figure career sales before you leave. 6-figure career sales before you leave. You leave Vector Marketing at 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. How much money have you made? My career sales when I went district manager, right? And I started in 2016, okay? I opened up an office in 2006, opened up an office in 2009, 3.5 years. So in 3.5 years, I sold $220,000 worth of Cutco. That means in 3.5 years as a college kid, I was able to make over 6 figures. So a couple of things about 6 figures. 6-figure career sales. How about this? 6-figure income. Maybe not in a year, but if you can say that through Vector Marketing and selling knives, you generated over $100,000 in income before you left college, what does that look like for your financial future? How much of that can you save? How much of that can you invest? Here's another thing to think about, right? Multiple branches. Not will I run an office, but how many offices will I run? And by the way, can you have a branch and have a twig? You open an office and then your rep opens up an office. How cool would that be if you're running your second year branch and you're competing against your twig and you're getting the commissions and the credit off of that? That's pretty exciting. So it's all about the future. I want you to write this down. Train hard. Train hard. Act as if you're going to open a district. Act as if you're going to be a CSP. Because what's the worst thing that happens? Well, you definitely don't regret it. You make a ton of progress. You make a ton of, you get a ton of experience. You make some really good money, and it's only going to help you. So I would be training for one of 3 things with Vector Marketing. And I don't care what you choose, but here are your options. Number 1, train hard to become the next CSP. Train hard to become the next big deal. You know, I'm thinking about Britton right now, and Britton is having his best year ever right now, over 100% growth. But I also think about Britton's vision for next year of over $150,000 in sales. It means he's got to average $3K a week all year long. But I'm excited to see him go through that journey. So number one, train to become a top-level CSP. Number two, train to become a top-level DM. Train to become a top-level DM. And you might not ever run a district office, but you know what? Being able to know that you know how to recruit, train, and develop people, and you're confident at a very young age to be able to do just that for the whole squad, that's exciting. Or for the, for any company, that's exciting. So that's something to think about. Cool. And then the last thing that I'd think about, right, is train hard for your future career. Train hard for your future career. When people sit down with you in your interviews for that company that you're considering working for, and they ask you, hey, go ahead and give me some updates real quick, right? Tell me more about what you did there. What do you want to be able to talk about? What stories do you want to be able to share? What things do you want to be able to discuss? And those are things that you should be definitely, right, thinking about doing those right now. Cool? All right. So hopefully that helps you out. Fired up to have Leadership Academy. We've got an action-packed agenda. We've got winter break sales prep. I can't wait to hear Britton Northcutt come on up. We've got Tyler Daniels talking about getting friends on the team and not talking about how to talk to your friends, talking about scripts, talking about systems, talking about what it's like. This will be a first time in a while on the Leadership Academy agenda. And then the teaching skill for today is going to be all about event attendance and getting people there. I know a lot of the copies are in your email, and then we've got copies that are coming in just a second. We've got a huge push to look forward to. We've got a huge conference to look forward to called Year End Banquet. And of course, we've got a 30-minute break. And then we've got division meeting later tonight and a 11-day what? Push, right? With some huge contests. And I can't wait to be able to share those as well. So what I'm going to do is go on up here. We're going to exit our full screen. And I want to do a little bit of recognition where recognition is due. I'm going to pull up this other screen and I do a little bit of sharing right now so you guys can check it out. But one thing I wanted to discuss is just where everyone's at. And I know that, sometimes in some of the newer offices, you don't really see the whole exposure of the whole division and how we've gotten to over $2 million in sales. But I figured this was worth a shot to make sure that we share it and make sure that we kind of show it off a little bit. Oh, so let me go ahead and show you what that is. So right now we're going to do our top. I'll go ahead and do top 20. So we'll go ahead and do top 20, and we'll look at it for campaign 3 right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So currently, I wanted to recognize Ayame, but currently at $2,600 now for the campaign. So one clap, 1, 2, 3. Number 20 in the division. We got number 19 in the division, Mr. Jonathan Williams. I need to change something up and go ahead and get office name on here too, so I know what office you guys are out of. There we go. And right now we've got number 19 at $2,600 out of North Tulsa. One clap for Jonathan. 1, 2, 3. We got Kara DePingray, right? And we're at $2,867 right now. So nice job out of OKC. 1, 2, 3. We got Arham, number 16 right now at number 17 at $3,000 flat. So nice job out of the Stillwater office. $24,000 in career sales, working on that CSP quota. 1, 2, 3. We got Morgan Johnson, also out of Stillwater, taking him down. Nice job, Morgan, taking down a veteran, $3,160 in the number 16 position. So great job to Morgan. One clap for her. 1, 2, 3. All right, next up, I wanted to recognize a little bit more. Currently, we've got Zach Ruby at number 15 at $3,600, $147,000 in career sales. So one clap for him. 1, 2, 3. Jacob Moore, number 14 out of Stillwater, $3,900. So that's exciting for Stillwater to have so many people in the top 20 right now. 1, 2, 3. We have Claire out of OKC, currently number 13 in the division. So great job, and I know having one of her best campaigns while being a student all at the same time, also having her best year ever and approaching 50K. So I'm sure this push will be when she knocks it out, no doubt, and excited to celebrate that. One clap. 1, 2, 3. Heath as a new recruit, $4,900 out of OKC, currently in the number, right, I think 12 position. 1, 2, 3. We got Jared Bebout. I need some better 1, 2, 3s here, man. I'm just telling you, I'm giving you love and energy and excitement, and you guys are not doing your job. All right, maybe you are, but you're on mute, so feel free to unmute, and we can all do our claps together. Here we go. We got Jared Bebout out of South Tulsa. South Tulsa currently, right, has a $5,400 rep. So one clap. 1, 2, 3. That's better. Now we're into number 10. And number 10, Jason Gravely, knocking out $5,900, $360,000 in career sales. So one clap for him. 1, 2, 3. Jack Stainer at $6,100 now. And I believe he's got some good sales coming forward. And really excited about that. Working on Dirty 30, working on going to the Thunder game with all the CSPs. So 6 weeks left to capitalize on Dirty 30 for everybody. Don't forget, when you hit Dirty 30, you also earn the hand-signed letter from the CEO of the company. So one clap for Jack. 1, 2, 3. Next, we're into number 9, John Hole, 7,100. So one clap for him. 1, 2, 3. Got Logan Watson currently in number 7 and knocking out $7,700, most of that at 50%, and Logan making the push to sell an additional $7,000, finish at 15 grand, and have his best year ever over 50K. One clap, 1, 2, 3. Moving on, we got Dylan Ruth, number 6. 10,500, and that is the game changer, right? To Dirty 30. We already have 6 people going, plus the managers and me. It's going to be a phenomenal Dirty 30 event in the Thunder game, and we'll be getting you the date very shortly. But I can't wait to have this experience with you guys, and I can't wait to bring our biggest group in the non-summer to it. So great job, Dylan. 1, 2, 3. Brenton right now, number 5, 11,000. So he'll be giving a message in a few minutes, talking about how to prep for the push, how to go big, and why winter break sales rock. But this guy has yet, I believe, to have a goose egg for the entire fall. He's always had an order, no matter what, 6 weeks in a row over $1,000, and his fastest ever to Dirty 30. So great job, Brenton. 1, 2, 3. Zane Howell, $35,000, number 1 brand new recruit, and still pacing for Yosemite and being able to knock out $60K in the national award. Number 1 for the fall right now, non-CSP. So one clap for him. 1, 2, 3. And then we've got Rob Steiner, $67,000 at what?
Half, baby.
Doesn't suck. We got Carlton at $95,000 at what?
Half,
and knocking out a huge week. Already on the sales report again, $105,000 at what?
Half,
so
baby.
Life does not suck when you're making 50% of that kind of sales. And when you think about the fact they've done that in only 11 or 12 weeks, that is pretty darn exciting as well. And remember, there is no difference between you and those guys except for 2 things. So if you want to write down what is the difference between CSPs and you, well, number 1, right? What?
More demos.
They work harder. Yeah, they do more demos, right? That's it. They just put more effort in, okay? And number 2, they love Cutco more than you do, right? They've fallen in love with Cutco. They're passionate about selling Cutco, right? In their opinion, there's really nothing better than doing that exact thing. Cool? So next thing that I want to do real quick is I want to go ahead and talk a little bit more about our upcoming promotion of year-end banquet. And I've got some dates. I don't have some prices or anything like that yet, but I wanted to go ahead and share this with you so that you guys can see it and check it out real quick. Year-end banquet is the best and biggest event of the entire year. I think this was the first event that Bailey was able to attend nationally, and this is also where he got promoted. So some pretty exciting things. So I want to talk a little bit more about this and talk about what's possible. So let's look over this. The Southwest Region Year-End Banquet and Kickoff Conference. Please write it down. I don't have a handout or a copy for this. I got it too late, but it is January 18th and 19th. It's going to be at the Marriott Marquis Houston Hotel in Houston, Texas. Guys, check this out. Okay, I don't know if you can see right now on the top of this. Maybe I got to make this full screen, but check this out. At the top of this is on the top of the freaking building. There is a pool that looks like the state of Texas. Okay, this is a hotel that I have never been to, and I guarantee you that no Vector people have ever been to, right? Okay, it's brand freaking new. It is the nicest hotel in Houston, and career annual campaign and push week awards are going to happen. You can compete with the entire Southwest region, anyone from Arizona all the way over to Alabama. It's going to be a phenomenal experience. There will be manager promotions. There will be 400 to 500 people there, including parents, right? I will be in a full tux. There will be people in evening gowns. This is a multi-million-dollar corporation's region year-end banquet. This is the biggest and best bet. And I'll tell you this, it doesn't matter, right, what level you're at. You need to go. As a division, I'm going to make a statement right now. I want us to bring 50 people. I want us to be one of the biggest and best divisions that shows up at that event. You're going to see Carlton Thompson get his Hall of Fame promotion, get his gold ring with 11 diamonds. He's going to get a $5,000 travel voucher for free. You're going to see people getting $100,000 commission bonuses. You're going to see people winning free BMWs. You're going to see the bigger picture. 3 weeks into the job, I went to year-end banquet. And if I wouldn't have gone to year-end banquet, I wouldn't have stuck with the company. Because I got to year-end banquet, I won nothing. I was a brand new rep. And I sat there and clapped for everybody the whole night. And I got so pissed. I remember that was Josh Muller's breakout year. And he was so pumped about what he had done. He was only selling like $100,000 a year, right? Not even a big deal. And he was like the talk of the town. And at the end of that conference, I didn't like Josh Muller, right? I looked at that and I said, this sucks. I don't like that guy. Right? He won everything. But then what was really going on was jealousy. And I said, I want to be like Josh Mueller. And that year I sold $50,000 in my first 12 months on the job. Why? Because I went to Year-End Banquet. What a great investment. So I want you to think about this, right? There's going to be some amazing guests. By the way, Bruce Goodman, the CEO of the company, is going to be there. There are travel vouchers where you can get enough free Cutco that you can sell it for cash to cover the whole cost of your travel, your hotel, your food, and everything else that's an expense, right? You actually make money by going to it. Not only that, but you also get Cutco product to take home. You meet from the top level people in the company. You get to mix and mingle with them, and every division manager in the region will be there as well. So are you fired up about Year-End Banquet? Signups are not live yet, but when they are, get signed up. You can take the full amount and break it down into payments. Last time I checked, it's going to be around $260, right? But this pays for 2-night hotel stay. This pays for all your food, okay? This pays for the nicest, newest hotel in Houston, Texas, okay? And a very, very big impact on your future goals. So make it happen. Get signed up. Talk to your parents about it now. By the way, my mom did not want me to run a branch. She said, I'll go to Year-End Banquet to support my son. She showed up. She went through the parent version of the meeting, which was only about an hour and a half breakout. And we went to lunch, and she said, so where are you going to run your branch, Nick? And I was like, what just happened to you? And she's like, I got all my questions answered. I'm so supportive. This is such an amazing op, right? Everything changed. So if parents aren't on board, get them to Year-End Banquet, whether you're running an office or not. And also, if you haven't considered running an office, it is not too late. We are going to have something called a RAM meeting. That stands for Rapidly Advancing Manager Meeting. And we are going to run that. And we want people who start right late and still end up opening and launching. And we need more development. We need to put out a few more districts, a few more branches, so it's not too late. Come and talk to me one-on-one if that's something that you're interested in doing. Cool? All right. So questions, concerns, comments on Year-End Banquet? All right, excellent. Last big thing that I really want to hit on is I want to give you guys 10 steps to growth in 2000. Actually, you know what? We're going to hold off on that. I want to talk about one other thing for the last 5 minutes, and then we'll start on time, and that is your territory letters, right? I talked about a letter of intent. If you have not done a letter of intent yet, okay, please type up a letter of intent and make sure that in that letter of intent, you put your top 3 territory choices on that letter, right? Where would you like to open up an office, okay? And why do you think that those would be good locations for you? All right, very important that I get those by Thanksgiving. So we are 1 week away from that today, right? That'll be in the middle of your push, but the sooner I can get that from you, the better. Guys, I'm not looking for anything professional. We're not going to look at the exact MLA, necessary and stuff like that. But I am looking to make sure that you spend some time and you put some really good energy into that, right? Because this is a big deal. And again, it's not just about the principle of you writing a letter to, go ahead and get a promotion, but it's also about the fact that these are great skills for you to use in getting a scholarship or, being able to throw your hat in the ring for a promotion or a change in job later on. So think about this, right? What do you value most in a territory? Do you value quantity recruiting, right? Do you value quality recruiting? Do you value, being able to have a living situation that's closer to home? Or do you want to get further away from your home, right? Everybody's got different priorities. But remember, the manager makes the territory, right, does not make the manager. So there is no bad territory in vector marketing, right? And certainly not in the Great Plains division. We even have territories that nobody has ever run before. And those are some of my favorite ones, okay? One of my stories I talk about branch all the time is this girl named Kimberly Gross. I'll never forget her story, but let me share this with you real quick. Kimberly was very, very anxious and extremely timid in life. Rightfully so. She'd almost been killed by a drunk driver 2 times in her life, being run off the road. And she was in a position where she was so scared of the world that she would not even go to the grocery store alone. She would literally have to have somebody come over, ride with her to the grocery store, and ride back. And this girl found our job through Craigslist, came in and learned about it and said, yes. Why did she say yes? She told me later it was because it was scary. And she knew if something was scary, it was going to help her grow. So she went through our interview, she went through our training, and she tells me later that she ran up to her first demo and she literally parked, almost got out to walk in, freaked out, and got back in her car and said she couldn't make it and rescheduled the demo. This is the girl, Kimber Gross. Now, Kimberly then started making some progress. Most of her leads were all the way down in Roswell, New Mexico, from where she's from, and she ended up having about a 4-hour drive back home if she wanted to sell. 2 months later, she got promoted to an assistant manager. She was already over 6K in sales. A few months later, she became, right, one of my lead assistants for a full summer, and she made the decision that she wanted to open a branch office. She was nervous about it, and I said, what territory do you want? And she said, I want to go to Roswell. And I said, you realize that the best office we've ever had in Roswell is not very good. It was like a one-light town, southern New Mexico. She said, yeah, but I'm from there, and I know that the people need my help. I want to go to my hometown, Nick, because I want my hometown to experience what Vector Marketing has done for me. And I said, well, that's enough of a reason for me, Kimberly. So we set her up. Her dad was a business owner. We got her a studio, an old dance studio that was over 1,000 square feet with a very weird layout, but it was the last year that studio was going to be open because then they were going to tear it down and build a new building. So the landlord really didn't care much, and we got a really freaking killer deal for the whole summer. She went to one school. That was all. And that was her school. And she got one kid from that school. He ended up being her first assistant manager that summer, recommending all of his friends. And her office, the second week of the summer, out-recruited the pilot. She had 42 people show up to her first training class because of how much vision and belief and conviction she had in the Vector Marketing program. And those kids walked through the door ready to be impacted. On her training confirmation call, she literally had to tell people, hey, by the way, I know this might be weird, but we've got a really good group coming tomorrow and we're not going to have enough chairs. Is there any way you could find a couple of fold-up chairs to bring in or a couple of lawn chairs? But she had a full dance studio. She out-recruited the pilot. Her second week, she launched over 30 people with kits. That summer, over 100 people worked for her, and her office did $120,000 in sales. And at the end of the summer, she was burnt out. Great experience, Nick, but I've been through a lot. I've learned so much, but I don't think that I want to continue to be a manager. And I said, hey, things can change. You're exhausted. You've went through a full summer. Why don't you go ahead and take a month and figure it out? I know you still love Cutco and you still love the opportunity, but let's go ahead and talk about that. And 1 month later, I get a call and she says, Nick, I miss it. I love it so much. I don't know what to do when I don't have reps to call every day and I don't have people I'm impacting. I want more of it. And I don't think I've experienced all the growth that Vector Marketing has to offer. So what are my options? And we talked, and this timid girl who couldn't even go grocery shopping opened up a district office for 1.5 years in Boulder, Colorado. She also recruited, trained, and developed a guy to 10K named Ryan Vincetti right before she moved on. She had some personal issues, by the way, just to be clear. She didn't leave because she was failing. And I took Ryan over at 10,000. He became a $150,000 rep. The little decisions that you make every day can have the most profound impacts later. And think about the fears and the challenges and the adversity that she had to overcome in order, right, to get to that place. Okay? Vector for the long haul. Do it. You won't regret it. And your future self will look back and thank you for making the decision, right, to take advantage of such a phenomenal vehicle and opportunity like ours. Fair enough? So your territory has a lot to do with 3 things: skills, sales, and savings. So let's talk about in the next 6 weeks how you can level up. Before we bring up our first speaker, I want to remind you that our Leadership Academy number 6, if you can put it down in your schedule, has been moved. So as a reminder, we do have a push. We'll talk more about that. 11 days starts tomorrow, but we are no longer having our Leadership Academy on the 13th. Instead, we will be having it on the 15th. That's a Saturday and the day after finals, which means we shouldn't have any conflicts. Also, 10 days before Christmas and 11 days before the Puerto Vallarta push kicks off. That will have all of the push period prep tips. That will have the whole schedule. That will have the contest for you, okay? And then that evening, we'll have the holiday party for any of our managers and our up-and-comers over at my house. Sound cool? So we can look forward to that, no doubt.
What time?
Okay. Holiday party is probably going to start around 3 or 4 o'clock. But the actual Leadership Academy and division meeting will be from 10 to 3 that day. By the way, I would appreciate if that's at the pilot. I'd like all of our offices to drive here, pack up the room, right? Really get the culture and identity back about going after 2000, right, and 19 and beyond. Fair enough? Right. Excellent. Good. Well, I appreciate you guys for being here, and I'm fired up. We've got Britton Northcutt. I'm going to pass out some copies, but Britton almost at $50,000 in career sales, and Britton being able to celebrate his 2-year anniversary in the business. And what's really exciting is that right now he's got massive goals of $150,000. I don't believe Britton has ever had a $10,000 push before, but he is going after many more in the future, winning PV and really taking advantage of this opportunity. We're talking about opportunities to make income, and next year, based on his budget and his goals, he has an opportunity to save over $27,000 and still have a pretty incredible lifestyle and travel the world for free. So Britton's going to come up, share some great details, walk through a packet with you for the next 30 minutes or so, and just review the Puerto Vallarta contest, how to hit it, and how to level up. So let's go ahead and give him a huge round of applause. Come on up to the front, Mr. Britton Northcutt. I'll leave it. Minimize this. It's not red, everybody. And there we go.
The baby and the
we get the rest going. So
all right.
The floor is yours, sir. Go ahead.
Well, thank you very much.
Yep.
How are we doing? Great Plains Division?
Doing great. Woo!
All right. Awesome. Well, I'm super excited to actually be able to talk to you guys today. Just remember, life is short by the knives. Okay. Felt like repping this shirt tonight, but it's super exciting to actually have the opportunity to speak at Leadership Academy. I think I've been through it a couple of times, and always great information that you learn all the way throughout it. I know that, excuse me, there's a lot of stuff that I still use from Leadership Academy, even though I've transitioned out of the management role into more of a full-time sales position. The things that you learn in this program are unmatched. The things that you're going to get from Nick, from the other people that we have on the agenda. I know Tyler's going to be speaking. And then every single week, just constant, absolutely amazing, high-quality content. So what I'm going to be talking to everybody about tonight is actually, winter sales, especially during your winter break, how to really maximize it and how to have an absolutely amazing push, win Puerto Vallarta, and things kind of along those lines. So what I love about the winter is just the atmosphere, right? People are, number one, in a buying mood, and they're also just in a plain good mood. You think about it. This push is mainly after Christmas, right? It starts December 26th, the technical start of 2019 for Vector. Literally right after Christmas. Do you know how in good of a mood people are going to be? They're going to be wanting to throw their money at you. Right? It's freaking awesome. They're like, we don't have to worry about holiday spending anymore. Their vacations are at least 5 months away, so if you put things on the 5 payment, it's not going to interfere with that. Like, seriously, winter break is the best time to sell. Number one, you've got a heck of a lot more time, right? So you can't make that excuse that you're too busy. But then also just the atmosphere and people willing to buy. So that's why I think it's super important to set huge goals. And even if you fall short, I think that's still an awesome thing. I almost am a fan of you should set goals that you can't reach. I don't know about you, but I'd rather fall short of $1 million in income than hit $10,000 in income. Right? So it's about going after those big goals. And that's what's so awesome about push periods in vector marketing. It gives us an excuse to go after things that we never even could have dreamed of. Like, what other company is going to offer you an opportunity of like 18 to 25-year-olds going to Puerto Vallarta for free? Not many. Wouldn't be surprised if we're the only one. Okay? And it's just for a couple of weeks of work. And think about how exciting it is to just be able to have this opportunity to make anywhere from like $2,000 to $3,500 in such a short amount of time. If you were starting at zero and you had a $10,000 push, you made $2,000 and you're winning a trip to Puerto Vallarta. But your life sucks. Seriously, if your friends over the winter break work 120 hours at minimum wage, they'd make $870 before taxes. Think about that. 120 hours. That's a lot of hours. Make $870. You can do 40 demos. Make $2,000 if you're at zero, which how often does a demo take? Like maybe an hour, right? Plus a little bit of phone time, work half the time, make more than twice the amount of money? I don't know about you, but that sounds like a pretty cool opportunity, right? And, just this opportunity, like last year, I missed going to Puerto Vallarta, and I was pissed. Like, I didn't put in the work that I needed to, but, it sucked. Bailey and Nick and Logan were all having a great time in some other country, and I was stuck here in Oklahoma freezing my tail end off, right? Yeah, it was April, but it was still pretty cold if I remember right.
Yeah, it was, cold at the night.
Yeah. But still, like, how awesome of an opportunity is that? Literally just for doing your job, doing what you're supposed to do, you have the opportunity to win a free vacation. Wow. I would quit if I were you, right? But what does it take, And also, what are some of the things that you want to go after? You don't have to go after a $10,000 push. You can actually win the entire trip, right, for a $5,000 push. How cool is that? Plus, as assistant managers, you guys should be getting your friends on the team anyway. And so if you get 3 friends on the team and they sell $1,000, right, a piece, then that counts as $5,000 to your credit for Puerto Vallarta. You literally only have to sell $5,000. Wow. You sell $5,000 to win a trip to a different country? Sounds pretty exciting to me. So, what does it actually take? How do the numbers break down? I don't know about you, but I'm a huge numbers person. So, we'll just go ahead and say 6,000, right? We'll say that you were going to do a $6,000 push. What that breaks down to is 24 sales, okay, just with low averages. By the way, the people in this group, right, the reason why you're in Leadership Academy is because you're higher level than a lot of people. So therefore, your averages are better. So this is like a worst case scenario type thing, okay? So the way that it breaks down, to go after 6K, that's 24 sales. That's 30 appointments set, right? Kind of depending on your cancellation and reschedules and stuff like that. And no sales. Like, how freaking awesome is that? You work maybe 40 hours, make over $1,000, and win a free trip? I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty exciting to me. Now, if you want to go for 10K, right, what that takes is 30 to 35 sales, right? 40 to 50 appointments set. Even then, you look at it, most of the time, it's not going to take you guys that much. And you still have a month to prepare. We still have 6 weeks left in this campaign before this thing starts. That means that you have 6 weeks to get really good at closing, really good at phoning, and really good at just being awesome.
Yeah.
Now, all of you guys are already awesome, right? But you could get even more awesome. So take advantage of this opportunity. If you were at 0 and you sold $10,000 in this push, you make $2,000. Me personally, I'm very money motivated, so that's pretty exciting for me, right? And if you've sold anything, which all of you have, that's why you're on Leadership Academy, you're going to bring in more than that. Let's say you're at 30%. You sell $10,000, that's $3,000, right? For me, by the time I get there, I'll be at 30% plus a 15% bonus. $4,500 in a couple of weeks. By the way, what's so awesome about this is it's a lot longer push than we've had. Like last year, I think we did 2 weeks. This year, we have 3 weeks. Like, that's awesome. Almost a whole freaking month to sell $10,000. We have people sell $10,000 in 10 days. Don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty excited. Right? And then if you sell $15,000, that's when it starts to get really exciting. Because you win the entire trip for free, right? The other ones you still have to pay a little bit. But if you sell $15,000, you win the entire trip for free. Okay? If you started at 0, you made $3,500. Think about how awesome that is. Also imagine you can sell $10,000 and get 3 friends on the team that sell $1,000. Guys, this is honestly one of, in my opinion, the easiest pushes that we've had for this contest. Seriously.
It really is.
It's so easy. There's no reason. Like, I get it. You might be out of town for a week. You still have 2 other weeks. Right? Exactly. You would still have the whole push that we used to have. And you have an opportunity this time to get $5,000 in credit for getting friends on the team. Like, you're freaking nuts if you don't go after this. Literally, all it takes is selling $5,000 and getting 3 friends on the team, right? And your friends can't tell you that they're too busy, because guess what? They're also out of school.
Yeah.
It's also about, breaking down your calendar, making sure that you have the right phoning and making sure that you have your demo spots, okay? We have call days on December 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and 26th to book up your push. That's 4 days of calling. Think about how many appointments you can book in those 4 days. You could book up half of your push before it even gets started, right? Or I guess technically including the day it does get started. So if you split up your calling over 4 days, it's really not overwhelming or anything. And what's so awesome is that we build this culture around these call days that we have a blast when we do them. I don't know how many people were around for like SC1 and SC2, but man, those half-day call days and stuff could get fun. Playing games. We've still got our thing up here. I don't think it's still, you can kind of see it on the door, but you'll get prizes just for booking an appointment, right? It's super, super important to make sure that you have these phone times in your schedule. And if you can't make these ones, find a different time to phone. And think about it like this, right? You have to have this mindset that, yes, it's still your holiday break. You can still take time off. But this push is so long that you have so much extra time on your hands. If you just woke up every morning and made 20 calls from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., which you could honestly probably make more in an hour, let's say that you did that, that's another 2 appointments right there, right? Think about that. If you do that every single day, I don't know exactly how many days there are in this push, like 20-something, right?
16.
Is it 16? I thought it was longer than 16. 24. Yeah, 24. 24
My
days.
bad. I was talking about Turkey Bowl.
No, we're talking Puerto Vallarta push, right? The 24 days times 20 calls a day. What is that? Over 400 calls during the push. There's your 40 appointments to hit your 10K. You're telling me that you can't afford an hour a day to earn $2,000 to win a trip to Puerto Vallarta? If you told me that, I would be like, wow, you need to get checked out. There's something wrong with you, okay? It's just about investing a little bit of time, guys. I think it's super exciting to just see this opportunity that we've been presented. Like, I can't think of anywhere else where you would have such a wonderful and blessed just opportunity to spend time with some of the best people in the entire world. And think about it. It's also a networking thing. Yeah, it's a vacation, but you also get to network with the best of the best. Me personally, I'm going after 20 grand for this push. Right? It's going to be the biggest push that I've ever had by far. And push, what's so amazing about it is it's about challenging yourself, doing what you can to get better. Push stands for persist until something happens. What are you going to make happen? What are you going to do that sets you apart from everyone else? Obviously, if you're in Leadership Academy, you at least have some thought of wanting to run an office or be an assistant manager or something like that, right? So when you think of that, think about how much more credibility you have with your reps when you're hiring career sales. Think about how much more education you can provide to people if you get really good at this sales thing. I'm a firm believer that you have a duty, obligation, and responsibility to yourself, to your family, to your friends, to the people that you work with to be successful. I'm going to repeat that. You have a duty, obligation, and responsibility to be successful. You should hold yourself to a high ethical standard that you will succeed. And I want you to think about it like this. If you don't want to be a sales rep for, several years, if you want to do management, how can you help people try and do this sales rep job if you don't even know how to do it? You ever thought of that? How much more respect are people going to have for you when you can say, yeah, I sold $10,000 during a push. Yeah, I'm at $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in career sales. Think about it. If Zane decides to run an office, he's already at $35,000. How much credibility does that build? We always say that people buy from you because they know you, like you, and trust you. Well, people work for you because they know you, like you, and trust you. They're going to learn from you because they know you, like you, and trust you. Why would you ever take information from someone that you don't trust or that you don't know? How much more trustworthy is someone when they tell you to take actions when they themselves have taken it? How hypocritical are we when we tell people to do something, but then we've never done it? So you have an ethical obligation to at least try for the push. At Vector, we never judge based on results. We judge based on effort. There's a good possibility that you go all out, you give everything that you can, and you don't hit it. But you wouldn't know unless you go for it. And that's what I think is so amazing. I think it's so amazing that we can challenge ourselves to be better. Vector is not a knife company. It's a growth company. The whole purpose of what we're doing here, the whole purpose of why we do Leadership Academy is not for ourselves. It's as simple as that. Because leadership is not for yourself. And if you think that, then you're going to have a lot of struggles as a leader. If you think that leadership is something that you're learning to benefit yourself, then you're doing it wrong. You learn to be a leader because people are relying on you. And the best way to be a leader is to lead by example. Has anyone here ever read the book, The Leader Who Had No Title? Anyone? Fantastic book.
By the way, it's on everyone's Leadership Academy list.
So you guys have to read it.
I don't know about that.
Well, you should read it.
Part of the assignment.
Phenomenal book. Phenomenal book, okay? And essentially the basic message is that you don't need a title to lead. We lead through our actions. We lead through being the best versions of ourselves. Think about that. What is the name of this program?
Leadership Academy.
Leadership Academy. And we lead by setting the tone and setting the example, by doing what we know we should do, about narrowing that integrity gap. So think about that. This push is not necessarily about you. It can be if you want. If you want this push to be about you, that's fine. Right? Because for me, as a sales rep, a lot of this push is about me. But from a manager standpoint, this push is about what you can do for other people. And if you think about it like that, it is so much easier to actually be able to go after it. It's about finding your whys. What are your whys? If you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, you're not going to find success. You're just living a purposeless life, kind of drifting along. I think of Simon Sinek. He gave a TED Talk on the Golden Circle. Start with Why is one of his book names. It's what the greats do so well. It's why companies like Apple and people like Martin Luther King had such an impact, is because they start with the why. So what are your whys personally, professionally, and financially? Personally, it can be a sense of accomplishment. It can be freedom. It can be realizing that you're special, because not very many people have a $10,000 push in this company. When it comes to professional, right? Maybe your whys can be respect, credibility, advancement. When it comes to financially, maybe it's so that you can move out. Maybe it's so that you don't have to have student loan debt. Because I think we can all agree, going into debt for student loans probably sucks, right? No one wants to have to deal with that. Maybe your financial why is being able to give an awesome life to your family. It's funny, yesterday we were having a CSP planning meeting, and Carlton was talking about how one of his goals was just to be able to give a rack to his, like his brother or his dad or something like that. Now, it was kind of funny what the conversation that ensued. Nick was confused as to what a rack was. For those of you wondering, it's $1,000. But yeah, love you, Nick. But think about that. He's trying to cut me short now. But think about that. Maybe it's just being able to provide an awesome life and an awesome gift for your family. I don't know what it is. But you need to figure that out. And you need to figure it out now. Because when does push start? It starts now. It starts with building your leads. It starts with improving your skills, learning how to close, learning how to get referrals, learning how to book every single person that you talk to. And you're never too good. You're never too good. Remember that. Our top people, they spend more time than anyone else practicing. It's as simple as that. I think of Mission 250, right? If you want to go after this big push, have 250 names and numbers to call. How many do you have right now? Create that awareness. You have 50, 100, 200, 300, a million? Because that one time you actually asked Mrs. Jones to write down 1 million of her closest friends, she did. Right? Refresh your demo. Study your script. Seriously. One of the best things that you can possibly do is to role play. When is the last time that you role played outside of a team meeting or outside of training? I think of some of the best sales organizations in the entire world with the highest level salespeople. I think of something like Grant Cardone's team. Every single morning for 24 minutes, they like to be oddly specific, for 24 minutes, they role play. These guys make $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 every year, and they still spend every morning role playing. And you're telling me that you don't have time? Yeah, that's not true. Not true one bit. Get motivated. Get educated. And I always like to remember that motivation, excuse my French, is bullshit. It's just motivation is action. You're never going to feel motivated to do most things. But once you get started, you start rolling, right? It's like you're building a snowman, right? You roll it up, boom. I know that you guys don't know what snow is. We're in Oklahoma, whatever. And then we got some the other day, which was exciting. It's also about building a team. We talked about how you have an obligation to yourself and to those around you to be successful, right? Why would you not provide someone with this wonderful opportunity that you've been blessed with? How many people do we know that hate their job, that talk every single day about how they want to quit? But then you don't try and get them on the team? What kind of friend are you? Seriously, if you're holding this opportunity back from someone, what are you doing? It can be anyone, high school friends, college friends, people you know from church. Just give them the opportunity. I love it because it's such a perfect opportunity to prove yourself as a leader. I've talked a bunch about how this is Leadership Academy, that our purpose is to be leaders. this is that opportunity for you to lead without a title. This is your opportunity to do something special. Don't miss out on this opportunity. By the way, the whole recruiting thing, it needs to start now. Because, like, let's be honest, our friends a lot of times put things off. They put the pro in procrastination.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why we have to get started now. Have your manager help. And that's what's so excited is as soon as I get off of here, we're actually going to have Tyler talking to us about how to get your PRs on the team. Which lately, just looking at the Leadership Academy group meet, Tyler has been ripping up the PR game. So super, super excited for that talk. But remember, you have a duty, obligation, and responsibility to yourself, to your friends, to your family, to this team to succeed. Now, success can be whatever you want to make it, right? I can't define what success is for you. But what I will tell you is that this is a great opportunity. It's better than almost anything else that you could possibly imagine to prove yourself as a leader. And then also make a lot of money, right? And also get a vacation. Think about how awesome it'll be to be able to talk to all of your friends about how, yeah, you're about to pack up and leave for a couple days just to go to Puerto Vallarta, just because you have this job where you sell knives. That knife thing is pretty cool, right? So thank all of you for this opportunity to speak. I hope that you got something out of it. I'll go ahead and turn it back over to Nick so we can keep this thing going. Thank you, guys.
All right, big round of applause. Man, it's incredible. Like we picked up Britton 2 years ago, like I mentioned, and if you guys didn't know this, Britton is in another leadership group. He already had a phenomenal foundation, but he mentioned you're never too good, right? You're never too good. You don't deserve anything, right? Entitlement is the enemy of success, and Britton just gets better and better every time he speaks. Gets more and more impressive. Better power pauses, awesome quotes, really strong preparation. I know I was in the back, and it was like I was not distracted. I was writing down notes. I had things in my journal. It was pretty exciting. And one quote that I just read, reminded me of what you talked about there is this. The purpose of practice, right? Amateurs practice till they get it right. Professionals practice so they can't get it wrong, right? And we think about, the professionals making the six-figure incomes. How much have you actually practiced your demo, your recommendations approach, right? And we can tell who's going to really go after a big push far before the push begins because of the preparation. And it's won along with time before that, And we think about we're being in a sales company and it's sell or be sold, right? We've heard that quote before too. Well, here's one from Les Brown. I've never heard this before, but this is really impressive. And it says, the first and biggest sale you need to make today is to yourself.
Okay.
So I'm going to say that again, right? We are always selling. Everything we do in life is a what?
Sale.
It's a sale. But the first and biggest sale you need to make today is to yourself. Why'd you wake up? Why are you here right now? You going to sit through the next hour with us and just be here because somebody told you to be here? Or are you here mentally, physically, and emotionally prepared, ready to level up, ready to take from it to use towards the best life that you can possibly have? And that's what we really need, because right now it's happening in our CSP team. And I just wanted to hit on this. I know we're talking about getting friends on the team, but at yesterday's meeting, I forgot to mention this. 2014, our events team in all of Oklahoma and Northwest Arkansas did 14 total events. And those 14 events added up to only $280,000 in sales. And this year, 4 years later, we still have 6 weeks left, but we just completed over 100 events for the year. We're not done. And they have already sold over $900,000 just at the events. That is CPO credit, by the way. And we have a shot at actually getting to that $1 million mark. That means in 4 years, we have had over 700% growth in events, and we had a total of over, 400% growth in sales. That is what we need on the manager side. That is what we need out of Leadership Academy. That is what we need out of our recruiting efforts, right? And our branch launching and our district launching, right? The number one way to build this division is to make sure that we fill it. And we need to fill it with great people. We need to fill it with great people in our assistant manager ranks, in our representative ranks, right? In our branch manager ranks, in our district manager ranks, in our CSP ranks, in our CGC ranks, okay, in our federal program ranks. We need to level up on everywhere. And I thought that was such a great message on how a push like this, an opportunity like this, a season like this can literally be the starting line for all of that, right? And I just cannot wait to see this division, 1 year from right now. I know where it is right now, and I'm fired up about the growth we're experiencing, but what does another year of growth look like? What does another year of growth look like? What does it look like when we're all the top level business professionals, right? And who's really going to take the journey with us? So again, Vector for college, not just for right now, and taking full ownership of that. So well prepared. Puerto Vallarta is going to be freaking nasty sick. And I know that many of you didn't get this, but if you didn't review, did you go through this and everything? A little bit. So I get this from your manager, but it's called a winter break sales strategy. And this has all the document details that he covered, kind of what about the alliances, the calendar for success, what dates you should be looking at. Get a PC with your manager far in advance, follow up on that PC, make sure that people know, things like sharing your goals, building the team. And man, I just don't believe it that you could sell $5,000 and win a trip to Puerto Vallarta for 4 days, 3 nights, all inclusive. Right? That just doesn't make sense. Make me broke, because you know what? When you can win getting 3 friends on the team, guess who pays that other portion? I do. And I'm cool with that. I am totally cool with that. We were talking today, Bailey and I, thinking about how do we get 100 people set for the first week's training, and how do we get to a place where we sell over $100,000 in new business for the month of January. And that's in the pilot. And I know all the districts have some really big visions and goals that they're going after too. So 2019 starts now. What a phenomenal message. Thank you for bringing that to the attention of the team. And I kind of regret not having that for all of the division, because it was so well prepared. So one clap for Mr. Britton. 1, 2, 3. All right. Well, before we bring him up, I'm going to go ahead and put him on the main screen. But we've got Tyler Daniels here, and I'll turn my computer around. That didn't work out. Gallery view, and we'll make you the epic keynote spotlight video. There you go. All right, so here we are. Yeah, which screen is? So there we go. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this up here, and you guys can go ahead and check it out. But Tyler Daniels, and I'll just sit here real quick. Tyler Daniels, being our best, one of our most veteran district managers, starting out the first summer that I came out here in 2016, and opening his office up in 17, now completing his second summer in 18, currently the #1 district manager in the entire division for the year right now, and he is going after some big goals for the future. Already got his first branch manager that he is launched and planning to do second year branch now. And we're just so excited about what he's building up in Stillwater, possibly be moving his office soon, found a brand new territory or a brand new office complex that looks really good, and is definitely in a good price. So we're fired up for him. But right now, the thing that I'm most impressed is his willingness and competitiveness to be taking ownership of making his gold period now. And he's been doing that through PRs. He's been doing that through getting friends of friends on the team. And I'll tell you this, there's no better business to run than when your culture is built around friends of friends. So 25 minutes, he's going to be cranking it, talking about how to get your buddies on the team, how to talk to them, how to handle objections, and how to convince them to at least believe in vector marketing. And he'll probably talk about it. One theme I've always said is I am totally fine with people not being interested in vector. What I'm not okay with is people either not knowing the job exists or not really having a full awareness of what the job is. And I think he's going to give you some goods on that. So let's give him a big round of applause, Mr. Tyler Daniels. Come on. Woo! All right, man. The floor is yours.
Woo! That sounds like Ric Flair.
I like it.
But good job to Britton. Man, you've come a long way with your public speaking. So I got some really good stuff with that for sure, my man. Awesome. So I just wanted to, kind of reiterate what Nick said. I'm just going to be talking about getting friends onto the team. Right now I have a rep who's already, Morgan, by the way, newly promoted AMIT. She actually started the job a month and 2 days ago, and she's already gotten 3 friends on the team. I think, are 2 of them at OKC or just 1? So 2 of them are in Texas and 1 of them is in OKC right now. So none of them are even in our office. But that's the cool thing about it, guys, is it doesn't matter where your friends are from. It's still going to count towards the contest. It's still going to count towards, your scholarship. And your friends are still getting the awesome opportunity. So, I just wanted to start off with that to let you guys know that we have got that a little bit going in our office and getting some traction with that. So the first thing I want to jump into is the Triple Threat program. I know that there's been some times throughout the year, especially through this campaign, that we've mentioned this. I know Morgan is a newly promoted assistant manager. So if you are new and you've never heard of Triple Threat before, you want to go ahead and write this into your notes. But the Triple Threat program, so the first thing you ought to write down is selling 10K for the campaign. Now, even if you were at 0 right now, which hopefully no one in here is on pay that is at 0. But if you are, I guess no hard feelings or whatever. But even if you were at 0, that would only be about $1,600 a week from now until the end of the year to still hit Dirty 30. And a lot of us, may have or have not had a $1,600 a week, but we also have the Turkey Bowl coming up as well, and that's going to help us create a lot of traction too. The second part of the Triple Threat program is going to be booking 50 PRs in that campaign. So again, even if you are just now getting in to training or you're just now helping with PR calls and you're starting at 0, tomorrow starts a new recruiting week. So that's just booking 10 PRs a week for the next 5 weeks. 10. So you could book 5 on a blitz day and then 5 on the next blitz day and you're good. Or you could do 3 on both blitz days and then 2 on Wednesday and Thursday. Or you could just do all 10 on Monday on the blitz day. But either way, everyone is still in a good position at this point to be able to knock that out. And then the third part of the Triple Threat program that I would write down is just getting 3 friends on the team. And I'm going to tell you about how easy that is or how simple that is. But first, I do want to kind of talk about the expectations of getting 3 friends on the job. You know how whenever you have a birthday, you kind of expect icing on your cake? Or when you go into your demo, you kind of expect to get a sponsor on your demo? Or if you've ever seen a BMW, you kind of expect there to be a sunroof, right? You should expect to get 3 friends on the team every campaign. Think about it. Out of all the people you meet every week, out of all the people you've met in your whole life at this point, all the people on your phone, all the people on social media, there's no way you could sell yourself on a reason of why you can't get 3 friends on the team, on a team. A team. There's over 300 or 500 offices throughout the nation. Anywhere in the U.S., it still counts. So why would you even want to get your friends a job? Well, number one, think about what you've gained from Vector. Like, let's just put all the cool stuff aside for a second. Think about how much you've grown as a person. Think about, the habits you have now versus the habits you had before you got to Vector. Whether or not you still have some of those bad habits, I can guarantee you that the majority of us have created a lot of really good habits from this job. And also think about the experience we've gained from, the resume, management experience like this, being able to be a leader in your organization. All of that is up for grabs for your friends as well. But nobody likes to do something for nothing because we're all human. So let's talk about what's in it for you. How about we start off with half off a part of our YARDA? I don't need to build up the trip because Britton just did that. But guys, half off? Are you kidding? Sell $5,000 and you win the freaking trip. You would have to purposely try not to sell $5K in a push to not sell $5K. And you get half off of a really awesome trip. 4 days, 3 nights, all inclusive. It is illegal to spend your own money. Just kidding. But if you want to go buy a shirt, Vector's not going to cover that. But they cover everything else, guys. They cover everything else. What else is up for grabs? The Team Builder Scholarship. It's not too late. And here's the best part about this is if you get 3 friends on the team during the Port of Our YARDA push, then guess what? You're now in the running for the Spring Team Builder Scholarship. So you could be one of the top contenders. Or maybe you have 1 or 2 friends on the team now, and you just need 1 more to get into the running right now. But either way, that scholarship, that's anywhere from what, $200 or $100 up to $1,000. Now I get it. That's not going to cover tuition for those of us who are in school, or for those of you who are in school, but that would definitely help towards food. That would help towards gas. That would help towards buying books, whether it's for personal growth or for class. That would help with buying booze, I guess, if you're old enough for that. Whatever, it doesn't matter what you spend. Everyone has money to spend, they just spend it differently, right? But either way, that's really cool to have that. Also, your resume is now upgraded. And guess what is on your resume? That you'll be able to put that you know how to effectively tie people into a vision, provide them with an opportunity, get them on the team, and help set them up for success. And I don't care what field you go into, any field you go into, a recruiting position is easily, 75 to 100 grand a year. Just for recruiting. And sometimes that's all companies are looking for, right? So are you thinking further in the future? What else is up for grabs? The Silver Cup Championship contest. That is a contest for representatives, the Team Builder Silver Cup race. And if you haven't, learned about that, then you could meet one-on-one with your manager, and I'm sure that they could get you details on that. That's kind of not what my talk is about today. And also, you get to be able to change lives, guys. Think about what you've learned with Vector, with Cutco. Wouldn't you want your friends to be able to have that same opportunity? You also get to prove your recruiting skills, becoming a candidate for management, also being able to be our next future assistant managers, our next future branch managers, our next future district managers. Right now is the time to prove that you know how to get people onto the team, that you know how to tie people into a vision, that you know how to promote how awesome what we have is. Because if you can do it now as a helper on one of our teams, as a business partner, as an assistant manager in one of our organizations, then you best believe Nick is going to have full confidence that you can do it in your own organization and that you can effectively tell people how to do it. Think about what Britton was saying. If Zane was to go run his own office, he's going to have credibility that he's sold over $30,000. Do you think his reps are going to believe in his programs and what he has and what his conviction is for how well the programs work? Of course they are. So if you were to open up your own office and try to have your team get 3 friends on, you think they're going to believe what you're telling them is going to work if you've done it once, twice, 3 times before? Of course they are, right? Building that credibility as a manager, putting yourself in a position of choice, becoming an assistant manager, a branch manager, a district manager. So let's talk about how to actually get it, how to actually do that, right? So there's a couple things I would write down in your notes specifically about 4 things. First, the first thing I would write down is you got to build your list. Who remembers downloading the app and training? Everybody does, right? Well, go back through your phone to those same people and create a list. Create a target list. Don't you have a best 5? Don't you have a top 10? Don't you have a top 20 target? Okay, well, as managers, we need that same thing from you. We need a top 5. We need a top 10. We need a top 20 list of your friends that you think would be good candidates for us to reach out to. Because we don't want to waste our time reaching out to people that aren't, going to actually do well at the job. That's why it's called recruiting. You're a recruiter. You go out and target people. Do you think Nick Saban puts up an ad on Craigslist for fullbacks and for running backs? No, he targets these people, right? So we need the same thing. Okay, to give you an idea, guys, 30 is the minimum. You should all be able to write down 30 friends on a list. Why 30? 10 to 1. 10 to 1. For every 10 friends that we reach out to of yours, we can pretty much guarantee we'll be able to get at least one of those to launch out of training. So if you give us 30 friends, then you best believe we're going to be busting our butts, sending texts, doing calls, doing follow-ups, doing steroid interviews, buying people some lunch, doing whatever we need to do to get these people in the door and get them out of the gate. But it has to start with you. So we need a list, building your list. Second tip that I would give you on how to get 3 friends is working with your manager to do this. How do you do that? Well, helping on campus, helping on social media, building that list, right? Targeting who your friends are, going out of your way to say, oh, no, I don't care if they said they were not interested on the Conveyor app. You got to call Rachel. You've got to get Rachel in here. The third thing I would write down in addition to that, to number 2, is just reaching out to your friends to create interest. And there's a couple ways you could do that. You could send a 3-way text, you know, and that's where it would be like me and Morgan and one of her friends. And Morgan would send a text to her friend. Hey, my manager has some openings. We have a really awesome trip, you know, to Puerto Vallarta. Students can earn anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 over our 2 to 6 week winter break program. Are you interested in making some holiday cash? Or is it okay if my manager reaches out to you? I told him you'd do great here, right? They plant the seed and then you call them, or you just keep doing it through text. But either way, you set up the call through text and then call. Or you could direct message your friends on social media. I know a lot of us, I've heard several times in my training groups, oh, I wish you could link this app with Snapchat or with Facebook or with Instagram. Well, you are the link, okay? So put us together. Link us up, all right? You're the link. We need you to send that direct message through social media and do one of 2 things. You can either, you know, put out your personal PR link, vmc.team/r/your rep number, or you can send that same message you would in a 3-way text. Hey, we got some openings. Build up the Puerto Vallarta trip, 2 to 6 week program. Make sure you're using that verbiage. And ask if it's okay if we call them and then get their phone number for us. Help us out. Or bring a friend to the team meeting. I mean, how much easier can it be than that? Like you're doing it's an alley-oop, right? It's an alley-oop. Bring a friend to the team meeting. Or one last tip on that one is a phone switch. So you call your friend. Hey, what's going on, man? What are you doing? Oh, yeah, cool. Hey, well, I got this really awesome opportunity. My manager is actually looking for some really cool people to bring onto the team, and it made me think of you. We have this really cool trip to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and I definitely would love to kick it with you. We got a 2 to 6 week program. So even if you're only looking to work for a couple of weeks or even into the spring semester, both of the options are available, and you make your own schedule. You can make some pretty sick cash too. My manager's actually right here. He wanted to speak with you. Here he goes. Hand me the phone and let me sell them, okay? It's sell or be sold, right? So phone switch. Last tip I have is converting for winter break, right? So here's some tips and phrases I kind of touched on, but when you're reaching out to your friends, verbiage is very important. 2 to 6 week program. I would write that down. 2 to 6 week program. Earn upwards of $1,000 to $5,000 before Christmas or before New Year's. Mention the Puerto Vallarta trip. Mention how they can help you in. Mention them going with you as well, right? Traveling is fun, but traveling is even more fun with Vector people. And traveling is even more fun when you have your friends with Vector people. Or when your friends are Vector people. But either way, they can come with you. So let's start right now, all right? I need everybody to pull out a fresh sheet of paper. No notes on it. No notes, nothing. A fresh sheet of paper. I need you to pull out your phone. I need you to open your contacts. And we're going to create a top 10 list. We're not going to do all 30 right now. We don't have time for that, but we do have time for 10. So everybody right now, not including friends that are already on the team somewhere, but create a top 10 list of these friends that we can reach out to. Do that right now. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Just go through them. And if you go through your contacts and you don't have 10, well, go to Snapchat. Go to Instagram. I know you have 10 on there. Preferably, we need the numbers, though.
By the way, district managers, many of you are from Oklahoma. You should be doing this with your friends as well, right? Work a competition out with maybe another manager that's in that local territory, about passing you funding, right? But again, we talked about it earlier. Nobody's too good to sell, and nobody's too good to refer and recommend. Interesting fact, you guys know the name Carissa Blevins. Well, can I tell you how I found Carissa, which is also how we probably got to Melissa and a lot of other people? It's because Marissa Mayer was at a show, and Carissa's mom Cynthia came up and said, this seems like a pretty cool thing. Can I get more info? And then Marissa built up the job, gave me Cynthia's phone number. I reached out to her. She lived all the way up in Ponca City. She came all the way down for an interview, and Carissa happened to be with her that day. So if you didn't know that story, that's how we got things started with the Blevins family. And now Carissa's brother has worked for Vector. Carissa is now a district manager. Cynthia still sells Cutco, right? Why? Because a CSP, who is a Hall of Famer, decided to brag about the job and recommend it to a non-traditional applicant. You're never too good. So who are you recommending? Who are you putting on the list right now? Sorry to interrupt your message. You can go ahead and take it back, Tyler, but I just thought that was really important as we build this list.
Awesome. So as you're going through your 10, once you got those 10, we're going to go ahead and send that text now, that initial text that we're going to plant that seed with your friends. And again, hey, my manager has some openings. We have a 2 to 6 week program. You can earn $1,000 to $5,000 by New Year's. We even have a really awesome trip to Puerto Vallarta that you can join me on because I'm going. Can I have my manager call you? Or, your manager's version of that. And I also want everybody in their notes to just write down a deadline being 24 hours, okay? I'll give you 29 hours. You have until the end of training tomorrow to get the other 20 to your manager. Remember, 30 is the goal. We're starting with 10 now, and then it's your job over the next 29 hours to just write down the other 20. So by the end of training tomorrow, we have 30 solid people that we can spend these next couple of weeks on over the Turkey Bowl to reach out to your friends, get them in here, get them rocking out so you guys can start competing with each other, getting some competition, making some cash, and talking about how awesome it's going to be and who's going to buy the next round in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. The next round of tacos.
Free.
Yeah, it's on the trip.
It's not free. It's free.
You're right. Exactly. You're right. But you know what I'm talking about, right?
I'll buy
Who's going to order the trip?
But you got your 10? You got your 10, Morgan? You got 6. Morgan's got 6. Who's going to beat Morgan?
I am.
Who's I am?
I need one more, and I got him.
Ayame got 9.
Oh, Angel.
I got 2. How many you got, Jerry?
Give me the answer.
10. Woo.
Oh, Ayame won. All right. Ayame, you know what you just won?
I get it.
You won a golden attaboy.
She's a girl. How about that, a girl?
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
We actually make them in mass production, so it's the same thing.
I'm a female.
What?
I'm a female.
Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me still?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, cool. But yeah, we make them in mass production, so it's the same thing now.
All right, bet. Am I talking to myself, or can you even hear me? Oh, are you coming down here to give it to me, or what?
Yeah, actually Nick's gonna give that to you, and I'm just gonna Venmo him.
Okay, all right. So, okay, good.
All right. Anything else, Tyler?
That is all I have for my talk today. Thank you guys for your help, and thank you all for being so selfless and willing to help your friends and give them an awesome opportunity. I'm really looking forward to kicking it with you guys during the potluck, during Puerto Vallarta. And unfortunately, I won't be able to kick it with some of you in Cayman Islands, but it's all good. We can talk about it in Puerto Vallarta. Let's kick ass.
And kicking it with everybody in Paris. I hope that that's certainly on the list moving forward as we continue to level up. So, pretty good. Let's give Tyler a huge round of applause. Great job. Nice work.
Yeah.
And for your preparation, your stories, and your willingness to help out all of us in earning some good contest bonuses and being able to guarantee that we are able to go and attend that as well. So pretty fired up about it. All right, guys. Well, we're into the teaching topics, and if you guys could take the copies at the back and go ahead and pass them around real quick. I'm really excited about our Leadership Academy teaching that we're going to be doing and the rounds that we're going to be going through. And I just got to remind you that part of the reason you come in is a personal, professional, financial growth. We want to be learning some really good skill sets as well. And one of the biggest skills in any business is getting people bought into the programs, getting people bought into the events, getting people bought into the culture, right, that you want in your organization. And I'll tell you that culture eats a plan and a strategy for lunch any day, right? And you've really got to understand that culture comes from what you do. And so when it comes to a culture in Great Plains, I want the culture of, always showing up. I want the culture of people buying into our meetings. I think about what Kevin Barth has done in Colorado Springs. He might only have a sales report of $5,000 or $7,000, but he has 20 people showing up at every week's team meeting because of how much fun it is, right? The dynamic culture, how much, excitement there is, the free stuff. And so one of the issues that we've really faced in the Great Plains division over the course of the last couple of years is people not buying into our events. Back in Rocky Mountain, when I was in the #1 division of the company, I was bringing teams as a new district manager of 30, 40, 50 people. I remember one of my biggest as a district manager is 60 people to one of our conferences there in Denver. And there was so much pride and so much excitement and so much energy, so it doesn't matter if it's something like a national event or regional event like you're in Banquet, or if it's something that has to do with just getting people to show up to something like, a team meeting, and everywhere in between. Getting people to show up to events is a skill, and it's not easy. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that people are just complacent. They're lazy. They're amazing at making excuses and finding reasons on why they can't. And so you just have to be better at selling them on why they can, right? And that's what this topic and this teaching opportunity is going to be about. So I hope you guys have the copies, and if you don't, I'm going to be bringing them up that we're covering right now as we go through this. But the first main one that I really want to talk about is how to run great meetings. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up real quick. And that way I can pull it up on the screen. If you don't have copies of it, we can look over it. We can talk about it, discuss a couple of things on here. There's also another document called Event PDI that we're going to be going through as well. So those are the two documents. And I'll tell you this, man, if you, have an incredible event, but you don't get people to show up, well, guess what? It's not so much of an incredible event anymore, right? Because it's not impacting a lot of people. And so a couple of metrics, a couple of numbers that I'd like you to write down, right? Number one, here's a great metric for you to write down. The goal is to always get 80% or 75% of your team to every single event, right? No matter what it is, the goal is 80% at the event every time, right? That's what we're looking for. So if your team has 10 people that are active on it, we want 8 people showing up. If your team is something like 20 active, we want 16 people there. And I get it. Everybody's not going to make it every single time, but there should be an expectation and a standard that they're showing up to the events, right? Okay, cool. You also got to ask yourself, how good are your events? And are they worth coming to? Are people learning from them? And are they getting what they want to out of them? If they're not leaving as a better version of themselves than they were when they showed up, then there's not really a need to come back. In other words, are you providing value? Okay, here's a big thing to write down. People are attracted to value. People are attracted to value. And if you're adding value to their life through PDI, through team meetings, through a meeting like this, they're going to want to come back for the next one, right? They're going to hear those quotes and that energy. And that's why we really do our best to make sure that we have awesome speakers that are prepared and really good talks. And it doesn't matter if there's 4 people in front of you or 400 people in front of you, you deliver with the same amount of energy, the same amount of intensity, the same amount of passion, right? Last major thing you should write down about metrics as far as events go is that the whole objective of having events, okay, is twofold. Are you ready? Number 1, build relationships. Number 2, drive demos. That's why we have events. So your event should be built around those 2 components. Have you ever been to a team meeting that didn't have a phone jam? You ever been to a division meeting that didn't have a phone jam? No. Why? Because we got to drive demos. Ever been to a meeting before where you're late? Ever been to a meeting before where you're early? What's the difference between the two, right? One, you show up and you gain great relationships. I don't know about you, but when I show up at events, sometimes my biggest takeaways from those events are not the actual content that was on the agenda, but the actual conversation that I had during the breaks from the agenda with people that I got to network with, or a phone number that I got to get, right? Or a person that I got to meet. And I think that a lot of our veterans could probably confirm that as well, that some of the biggest takeaways from events are not actually what was on the agenda, but it was for what was talked about in between. And I think that that's a really, really important thing to mention and to talk about and confirm as we move forward. Sound cool? So let's go ahead and cover some of these. I'm pulling up Great Meetings now, and I'm going to go ahead and pull it up on the off of the speaker view. I'll exit the full screen. We'll throw it back down so I can share some of these. But the first one I wanted to go through really quickly is our Great Meetings document. So let me pull this up real quick. And again, many of you all of you, maybe not all of you, but the majority of you have this in your email. So if you want to print it or you want to look at it, you've got an additional copy for you to go through as you do this. So let's go ahead and pull this up. I'll share it and we'll get going. It says how to run fantastic meetings. So let's roll through this real quick. Okay. First off, it says getting your people to the meetings, right? So here's the thing. Number one, set the expectation early. Okay. What are you talking about in your interview? What are you talking about in training? What is the expectation of you working here? Hey, part of the best part about working for Vector Marketing is the fact that we have phenomenal team meetings. In fact, I don't even think it's really a team. I think it's actually a family because we love coming together, catching up on how our week was going. And the beautiful thing is that the only time of week that we require our reps to come to the office is for our team meetings. And this is an opportunity for us to connect, grow personally, professionally, and financially. And then afterwards, we always do a fun team night. And we'll go out. Sometimes we'll stay in. And we've done anything from scavenger hunts before to being able to go out to Applebee's and Buffalo Wild Wings. We've even had times where we've played charades in the office, or we've played Cutco Bingo. But it's a blast. And the next one that we've got is going to be wrapping our blue books for Christmas holidays. And man, it's going to be so much fun. How are you promoting that stuff, right? But there's got to be an expectation in advance that this is normal and this is expected. Second one, following up immediately and firmly the first time they miss a meeting or the first time that they're late. Nip it in the butt. I learned early on that if a rep takes an inch, or if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile, mainly with communication. If a rep leaves their first night from training and they don't call me, I am an absolute jerk about that in a nice way, right? But I make sure that they understand that that is not tolerated. And if they continue doing that, they will fail at the job. And I'm not afraid to be that tough coach, right? Be tough on your people. Tough love, right? What does Drew say all the time? I'd rather a rep quit because I'm being tough on them than because, right, they're not making any money. And we know that reps who don't communicate don't succeed. Okay. We also know reps that don't show up to meetings don't really succeed. Okay. So you got to get that in the schedule. All right. Here's another thing. Always remind them of the meeting during PDI the night before or a couple days early. If they're new or often late, remind them of the importance of being on time. Maybe set a contest, make it fun, and set the expectation and hold them accountable. Set alarms in your phone, right? Hey, can't wait to see you at the meeting tonight. Make sure you leave your house by the agreed upon time of 3 so you're not late, right? And the last one on here, okay, the last couple, have the meeting at the same time on the same day at the same place every week. That way there's no confusion. If your meeting is constantly bouncing around, no wonder people aren't able to show up, right? But if your meeting is at the same time, same place, same day, every single week, why would they miss it? Why would they forget? Have your meetings at a time when the most people are able to attend. It will interfere at the least with their sales. They will be the most likely to attend, and you feel it will be most effective. Everybody with me on that? Now, here's the reality, guys. In the school year, Thursday nights are the night. We don't interrupt Wednesdays, and that's prepping people with the biggest phone time into the weekend where they can really take advantage of the job. And that's why we have them on Thursdays. All right, cool. Let's talk about setting the stage. 7 steps here. Allow yourself, number 1, enough time to be mentally ready before the meeting begins. Last year, we made the mistake of having Leadership Academy right into team meeting. It was like, all right, done. Hey, and it was not enough transition time. There's got to be transition time for you from your day into the event. Next one, be totally prepared early, a day in advance, knowing that you're firming up your speakers, right? That would be the minimum. And I know I need to get better at this. Some of my meeting agendas, right? It's like 2 days out. Well, hey, the goal for next year is a week out. No matter what, that gives people time to fix things, right? To adjust. Also me time to follow up, look over their notes. But again, for team meetings, are a little bit smaller, right? So always having that prepared. Next one, make it something special every week. Hey, what's special about this is going to be the theme, or what's special about this is we're going to have a guest speaker, or what's special about this is we're going to be giving away Cutco. Okay, something's got to be different, and that's got to keep the buzz going. Next one, personally touch every person there. And I know that this can be construed the wrong way, but here's the deal. There are a lot of people who communicate love through physical touch. Some people don't. Now, I'm not giving you permission to do anything over the top, but hey, something as simple as a high five goes a long way. I'm not a big hugger, especially sometimes with females. It makes them feel really uncomfortable. But there's nothing wrong with a professional high five. There is something wrong, though, that if you have people in your office you haven't said hi to. That's a problem. Does that make sense? You need to be in your office, and when you're in your office before a meeting, here's my challenge to you. Every person gets talked to by every one of you every time. Hey, and if you don't know somebody's name, don't be the person who's uncomfortable with that. Be the person who doesn't know somebody's name. I love walking to my office after being out of town for a week or two and seeing new people. Hey, what's going on? I'm Nick. What's your name? I love walking to interviews when their ride walks into the interview with them and sits there. And they're like, oh, I'm not here for an interview. Great. What's your name anyway? Nice to meet you. Right? I love meeting people. You should love it too. There should be a physical connection, handshake, high five, pat on the back, something like that, right? Okay, what's the next one? Delegate tasks beforehand as they come up. Okay, so making sure that you have somebody who's a high fiver when they walk in, somebody who has the sign-up sheet, right? Somebody who's constantly, talking about demos and tracking those. It's fun. Some of you guys have iPads and great technology using Web PDI. Can walk around. Oh, you got a demo? Boom, let me change that. Let me change that, right? So what Brian Hurlman's talking about. Brian Hurlman, by the way, had 3 assistant managers, and this summer did almost $1 million in sales. They had 3 AMs. Those AMs made really good money. Just throwing that out there. That's incredible. And the last couple on here, train your key people on what you expect out of them and help them set the right attitude, help them set the right environment, the right energy, right? And always be sure we start on time. Don't wait on people. Don't wait on people. Get it done, right? 1 or 2 minutes is already too late. Okay, and that's the culture and identity that I want Vector Marketing in the Great Plains to have. So, dynamics of a great meeting. This is your show. Get others involved, but you must establish and maintain control on an atmosphere. Run every meeting as if you had a group of 50 people that sold 50 grand last week, right? Because here's something I want you to write down in your notes. Act as if. It's never going to happen if you don't act as if it's already happening. People tell me, well, I'll run a staff meeting when I get a staff. Are you kidding me? It's like looking at a campfire and saying, I'll give you wood when you give me heat. It's not going to win. That's a concept. That philosophy doesn't work. I don't have a staff yet. Exactly why you need to be running staff meetings. So when you do have a staff, you're prepared for that. Does that make sense? So always running it as if you had a huge environment in front of you. Acting as if you had a full house. One of my favorite things to do when I only have 1 or 2 people on my team and I open up my office is to set up all the chairs that I have when they walk in. And they walk in with these eyes and they look around and they're like, there's a lot of chairs, dude. I know. Is that many people coming? Yes. Like tonight? Probably not. We got some work to do. Well, what do you mean? Right? It's one of my favorite things to do. I have a vivid memory of doing that in my district office in Rio Rancho when I opened up, when I did that in Denver, when I opened up that office, and when I did that in Oklahoma City. I remember our first team meeting in Oklahoma City. Right? My gosh. It was after we ran our first training class. I had 5 people walk in the door, for training number 1. Most of them were my receptionists. Okay. I had 4 of them launch. One of them sold 10,000 or sold 7,000 or fast start, 15,000 career sales. And I remember setting up every chair. And we had like 60, right? You could people were banging into chairs, knocking them around. Right? And they're like, what's going on? And I was like, this is my vision. Let me tell you about my vision. Right? And I owned it. And I acted like I've already had 100 people involved. Right? That's how you open a business. Your vision has to be big enough that it fits everybody else's vision inside of it. And they need sometimes visual evidence and proof of what that looks like. You want to talk about building a great team from the beginning? A great YouTube video to look out there is called The Dancing Man. And check it out. It's this crazy guy at a concert, and he's dancing by himself. And then all of a sudden, right, somebody comes over and dances with him. And at first, the whole freaking crowd on this grass field is making fun of him. And by the end of the song, there are more people dancing in a huge mob with this guy than there are sitting down. And it's actually cooler to be in the mob than it is to be watching and making fun of him. And it started with how many people? 1. It all starts with you. A couple other things on here. It says create an atmosphere of success. Use group dynamics. Find and accentuate the positives and give your attention to the people getting the results. I want to congratulate everybody. If you didn't know this, for the first time ever, we got a hand-signed letter from Bruce Goodman recognizing us for ranking in the top 10 divisions for the month of October in total sales. That is everybody's hard work. And if that's not being promoted on every group meet, it needs to be. You're part of our team. You're part of us right now. You're part of the fastest growing division in the company, right? And it doesn't matter what role you play or what office you're in. You should talk about that. And if our division does have a bad week, you still have stuff to talk about. Can I tell you what that is? We're part of the #1 region in the entire company for 3 years straight. We have the #1 region manager. We have the best events team. We have the best CSP team. We have the biggest deployment. We have the most district managers. We have the most branch managers. We have the best programs. Not only that, we're not just beating the competition, we're demolishing the competition. If you didn't know this right now, we're at $35 million in sales for the year. You know what #2 region is? $24 million. We're beating them by over $10 million.
Whoa.
That's called demolishing people. Now, by the way, what just changed in the energy in this physical office? Maybe it didn't come through the video, but with those 2 to 3 minutes of me getting onto that, right, that route and that rabbit hole. How does that feel to be told those things? What does it do? And I'm in a room that I wish was more packed too. But it's amazing how what you talk about is what starts to become reality. Are you talking about being championship level? Are you talking about winning silver cups? Are you talking about going #1? You want a fun fact? I've talked about winning a silver cup every single year as a district manager and never won one. But I talk about it every year with just as much passion and desire and commitment and integrity. Think about that. A couple others on here, right? You create the atmosphere. Preparing your key people ahead of time and expecting them to participate in those dynamics. Expecting them to be at the front of the room. You know, expecting them to be your leaders, dress the nicest, showing up the earliest, right? Giving the most energy, the biggest rounds of applause. Lean on your leaders. Nobody wants to be the first to sign up. Here's a great thing for GroupMe. When you create an event in your office, every other manager, even if they're not on that team and they're not going to be at that office, should go to that event and say, yes, I'm going to it. Because if there's a bunch of yeses, people are going on the GroupMe saying, holy crap, a lot of people are going to that. I guess I'll go too. People want to do what a bunch of other people do. And that starts with our leaders. You know, stick to your pre-planned program. Explain the ground rules of almost every meeting. It's better to teach them one thing that they use than it is to cover 10 things that they don't. I want you to write this down, please, everybody. Don't overteach. You're going to remember probably nothing more than 1 or 2 quotes from this entire 2 hours. Luckily, it's on video. You can reread it and watch it. Reread it. I don't know how you'd read it. That'd be a long script. The point is this. We overteach all the time, and we teach a lot of useless stuff. One thing, that's all you need. They walk away from that meeting with that one thing that they needed to hear, man, it makes the biggest difference. And even your best meetings you've ever been to nowadays, what do you really remember? I remember that one thing, yes? Don't overteach. The last one, right? It's on here if you look at it. The 4 I's for every meeting. It's on the back. Information keeps them up to date on current standings. Instruction teaches them something that will help them. Involvement makes them feel like they're a part of something bigger than themselves and what's happening. And inspiration, positive expectancy, this is a great place to be. Keep doing what you're doing. Cool? All right. A couple other things. Winding it up, right? Oh, number 7, it says the primary purpose of the meeting must be training. If they don't learn something that makes them money, they won't be back. Keep it simple. Stick to the basics. Here's the deal. There's only 4 basic principles of being a Vector rep. Are you ready? Right? It's a circle of life. Phoning and objections, recommendation and objections, closing and objections. What the 4th and final thing would be, in my opinion, would be time management and planning. And that is the circle of life with Vector, guys. Phoning, closing, recommendations, and planning, time management. That's it. And if you can master those fundamentals, it's impossible to fail at a job like this. If you can master those fundamentals, in fact, it's impossible to really fail at any sales job out there or any job that you're given. And that's why we have team meetings, because every week we go in a rolling cycle of mastering those basics. Let's talk about winding it up and important questions after the meeting. Always end on time. Always ask for business. By the way, I'm going to say that again. Always ask for business. You should create the expectation that you're at my meeting, so the best thing you can do is to get on the sales report. If you're here right now, I expect you to be on Rollo by Monday, right? Remind them of the next time you'll see them. Make sure it's written in their schedule. As a group, thank them for coming and thank them for their commitment. Try to personally touch every person again before they leave. I used to always do this. I'd finish the meeting and say, 30 seconds, hold on before anybody leaves. I'll be at the door. Your ticket out the door is to give me a high five. And I'd pull people aside and have private 5 minute or 5 second, well, 5 minute probably for me, a quick conversation with them, right? And one more time, thanking them, the ones that I really needed to impact, okay? Try to arrange your schedule, right? Try to avoid the me monsters. The me monsters. I remember when we had 40, 50, 60-person team meetings, I'd finish the meeting, we'd do our team chant, right? And I had to be protected because it was just like a swarm of people like, Nick, you need help with this order, this. Now we don't have so many of those challenges, right? It was like me, right? It's like the mine birds and, Nemo, mine, right? Gosh, but that was a good thing because we had that many people. It's frustrating in the moment, right? A couple other things. Try to arrange your schedule so you're available after the meeting for questions and decisions. There's a great rule to write down about events, 15 before and 15 after. If I've got an event, I'm prepared and ready to start that event 15 minutes before. So that way, I don't have to worry about a thing. I can walk around. I'm not doing last minute things. I'm shaking hands. I'm kissing babies, right? We're having fun, okay? I don't know about that one, but I'll tell you, sometimes people bring their kids and there are babies around. So you better be ready to be a great baby kisser, okay? And also 15 minutes afterwards, right? To thank people, to give them high fives. Some of my favorite moments are when the team's just hanging out in the office. We were doing that last night after the CSP retreat. I loved it, right? You guys were just kicking it, laughing, joking. I'm like, gosh, this is what it's all about. This community, this family. We built that. Nobody else. Nobody else. We did that. And we will continue to do that and level it up every single year. We need to do that in every meeting. Delegate tasks so they don't get tied up. Train your key people. And remember, you work for your team. The only way you can succeed is if they do. And sometimes you have to remind people about events. Dude, I don't get paid to come to this event. I know you don't either directly, but it will be worth your time. Important questions. Did I make it worth everybody's time? And if the answer is no, how can I make it worth their time next time? Will they be back? I think so, right? Or maybe not. And if they're not going to be back, then talk to them about that. Hey, Claire, I just wanted to reach out. Thanks so much for answering. I know you came to the team meeting. I wanted to get your feedback on that because one of my goals for my organization is to become one of the best offices when it comes to our events. So I just wanted to get your feedback. What did you like about the meeting? What didn't you like about the meeting? Okay. If it could have been different, well, okay, great. Are you willing to help me make the future meetings better so that they're worth it for everybody to come to? That's somebody that now feels empowered, and that's somebody that now will probably want to be back on your office, right? Or back in your office, okay? Asking for people's help. Did every person learn at least one thing that will make them more money this week? Did every person feel better when they left than when they came in? Does every person expect more of themselves now? And what could I have done to get it a little bit better? Cool. So, any nuggets? Nobody's saying them, but learning things, yes? Okay? And by the way, there's nothing worse than having an organization with tons of people on it and nobody shows up. The question I absolutely dislike is the question that was asked to me yesterday at the CSP retreat because we had a few people late. But the first person walked in, I believe it might have been Jerry or Britton, I forget who asked it, but it was, where is everybody? Oh, man. Everybody who's anybody is here right now. That's the way I look at it. And you run it for who is there. Everybody with me on that? So, second document that I want to review real quick and make sure we share before we wrap this section up and give you a few last minute assignments is event PDI. So if you want to grab that out real quick, I'm not going to have time to review the whole thing. And also the whole thing is not something that you're going to read word for word to anybody. Well, let's talk a little bit about event PDI. Okay, PDI, if you didn't know, stands for personal daily influence, but there's a big difference from just having a PDI conversation and actually having, right, confirmation for events. So let's go ahead and look this over. You guys can kind of check it out. It says right here, fun opening lines. Hey, it's your favorite manager, right? Or what's good? I love that question, right? Hey, in 20 seconds, tell me everything that's going right in your life right now. Fire me up. Man, I haven't done PDI like this in a while, and I'll tell you that if we did, it would totally change the identity. Rapport. Build them up. What I love about you, Claire, right? Great work last week. I know it wasn't the numbers that you were expecting, but what I'm so impressed with is you committed to making sure that you weren't a goose egg. And I know that a lot of people chose not to. And it would have been really easy for you to let that pass, but you're a champion and you didn't let that happen. How's it feel to be a badass? You start out a conversation like that, I want to answer your call every time you call. How's it feel to be back in the swing of things? How's it feel to be a straight A student, a champion, an athlete, blah, blah, blah. Build them up. Connect by using past conversations and inside jokes. If you're doing PDI without documents and scripts in front of you, you're crazy. That's like walking into a demo as a rep without your manual and your blue book. Can you sell? Sure, but it's going to be tough. Every single PDI conversation, I want you to write down, PDI is a sale. PDI is a sale. This is your demo as a manager. Do we get this? Your PC is your demo as a manager. PDI is your phone time, I guess. Okay? Getting friends on the team is your recommendations. That's the way you should look at this business. So make sure that you use notes to reconnect. Cool. Well, hey, do you know why I'm calling? And a lot of times they're going to start to be sarcastic. Yeah, I have 5 demos ahead of me. Well, I mean, yeah, that too. But I also wanted to, and then one more compliment, right? Make it a joke. Please write this down. Have fun. If you're not having fun, they're not either. And it's not their responsibility to have fun. It's your responsibility to make things fun. Cool? Let's talk about your transition. Are you freaking ready for this week? And I would not do event PDI confirmations the night before, right? This should probably be earlier in the week, right? But are you freaking ready for this week? Man, I'm so fired up and stoked. Do you know what's hot right now in the office? You haven't been, dude, you need to go on GroupMe. Let's go on GroupMe together. Can you throw me on speakerphone? What if you force them to get on GroupMe, right, and go through it? Did you see that? Did you see that? Now you're not having to say anything. No way. Blank sold a homemaker? Yeah, bro. And that was after going like 0 for 3 and then getting his first sale, only being at $300 and he nailed it. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just saying, right? But you play around with those things, okay? Dude, I'm so pumped right now. You know what's hot? You know what's happening? Okay, you ready to pop after this meeting? Last week, Blank showed up to the meeting, popped a huge sale after learning from Blank on Blank's message. How cool would that be if that was you? What if because you went to this meeting, you had your first $1,000 week? Dude, I'm so fired up for you. How many demos are you going to set up tonight? What's your goal? And it's all expectation before we ever ask the question if they're coming in. You guys with me on this? And obviously, those conversations would change depending on the time of the year, but this is what it really means, right? Blank, do you have a helmet? Good. Well, you better wear it because your head's going to be blown by the stuff you're going to learn tonight. Make it fun. How about all the fun phone lines we use, right? When people ask us, what is KUKA? Oh, it's plastic explosive. By the way, how big is your backyard? I'm just kidding, Miss Jones. This is a high-quality line of kitchen knives and outdoor objects. And I love what Robert Danbury used to use all the time, right? What is KUKA? Oh, it's actually ice. Yeah, but it melts really fast, so I have to come over now. I'm just kidding, Miss Jones. But I really would like to see you soon. So what's your schedule like?
I love that.
By the way, that's not something telemarketers can do. Does that make sense? That's not something most people in business can do. But we can do it because we're unique and we're different. So make it fun. I want you to come up with the next line that we add to this handout so next year's Leadership Academy is even better. Leave a legacy. What are the funny things that you've said before and said on PDI, right? Okay, building value. Let's talk about features and benefits, right? That's what this is. And you notice how these 6 steps are just like a demo? Rapport, transition, right? Features and benefits. Okay, let's talk about that. Well, instead of talking about features and benefits of KUKA and the Double the Edge, we should be talking about features and benefits of the meeting, features and benefits of the team. Dude, it's going to be awesome. I'm so fired up. Tonight we have Melissa Bender. She's going to be on the agenda. She's one of the best at making phone calls, handling objections, and getting people to book up with her. And I can't wait for her message for 15 minutes right before the phone jam so we can absolutely crank and dominate and sell a lot of knives. You got to be here. You're going to learn so much from her. She's one of the most talented. How much are we building each other up? And when we actually do have top-level people, not the Melissa's not, but I'm saying like Hall of Famers, the CSPs, that's a big deal. You realize there's divisions that don't have that? Don't take that for granted, right? So, hey, all your questions. Remember how you've been struggling with recommendations? We have a message tonight about recommendations. If there's any event you want to be at, it's this one. Let me tell you why. There's going to be a massive push always coming up, right? Okay, Bruce Goodman, here's another great line to learn, right? There's always two things happening in your business, either what's exciting or what's going to be. And Bruce Goodman always talks about what's coming up next, no matter what it is. What's exciting, what's going to be. How can you use that in your, right? Because nobody wants to say like, oh, yeah, we're really sucking right now, guys. But one day, oh, man, one day we're going to see the light. Things are going to be different, right? No, you can't be doing that. You got to talk about what's exciting now and what's going to be even more exciting. Okay, the phone jam is going to be really intense because we have a competition tonight that's boys versus girls. And right now, I've got 5 people confirmed that are boys and 2 people confirmed that are girls. Claire, the team freaking needs you. Your kind needs you. You know what? You can't let the boys win. You can't let them win. You can't. We need you here. And I know that 3 girls could beat 5 boys. I just don't know if 2 girls can beat 5 boys. So can I count on you to be there? The energy is going to be off the hook. The whole team is going to be there. Now, by the way, I think I need to make it crystal clear that you would never say all of these lines in the same call. Okay? That would be really, really bad, yes? But it gives you a lot of differences that you can use depending on how the convo is going. And don't try to go line to line to line to done. No, right? We might say a line, get some feedback, talk about it, and while they're responding, you go to the next section, you pick a couple, right? And then you work on that, okay? No man left behind. And, dude, we're going to roll deep to the division meeting. Yeah, right? Learn a little bit of slang terms. Bet, right? So
I said bet.
it's not on there, right? But that's pretty cool. After the meeting, we're going to be going to blank. It's going to be so legit. And then the trial will close. So, Claire, can I count on you to be my designated high fiver tonight? Dude, I really see you being one of our top people in the future. And I really want you to know that I think you have what it takes to be able to be trained into our management training program. And one of the number one steps to doing that is taking a leadership role, even if it's something as simple as the high fiver. So to be the high fiver, you're going to need to show up to the event 30 minutes early. Can I count on you to be there no matter what? Because we can't miss high five. Right? What are you going to wear? You know, because if there's a theme, getting people fired up about that. I remember Claire talking about in the summer, this summer was the first time that she's ever really authentically loved her team. She just loved them. And she developed great relationships and retained the crap out of them. And they sold a lot of Cutco. But it was always excitement for what's next and what are you going to dress in? How are you going to show up, right? What is that culture? People are attracted to something like this where it's fun. Okay, then ask for the order. What time are you coming in, right? The question should never be, are you coming? Are you kidding me? Low-quality questions deserve low-quality responses. High-quality questions, right, are getting high-quality responses. So the quality of your question has a lot to do with the type of result that you get. So keep that in mind, okay? Are you going to win the on-time award? You know, I remember when we had a big problem in my office with people being late, I just started offering free Cutco to people that showed up early. That was it. It was that simple. If you showed up early, you automatically got a ticket in the drawing. I didn't do that forever, right? But it was worth the free Cutco to be able to get the extra time and teach a habit. What time will I see you for the phone jam? And then at the bottom there, we're not going to cover it, but how to handle tough questions. People saying, oh, I've got other things going on. What's the big one we get with students? Oh, I got homework. Too busy. Dude, I have so much on my plate. Bull. No, they don't. We all have given that excuse before. I've given that excuse before. Our leaders, our CSPs have given that excuse before. You're never going to have time. So what do you need to do? You need to make time. You need to make time. And you need to negotiate. Remember, PDI is a what? It's a sale. You're making a sale every time. What's the hardest part of phoning? Getting people to what? Answer. Doing it. Okay. I'm saying after you start doing it, right, what's the hardest part of phoning? The hardest part of phoning is getting people to what? Answer. Okay? So here's the deal. When you finally get them to answer, 90% of the battle's done. So how frustrating is it when you get them to answer and then they don't book up with you? Guys, if you're doing PDI, you fight till you get them confirmed. That's your job. And you know that it's in their best interest. They just don't know it yet. Just like I know that every one of you would not regret going to Year-End Banquet. So much so that I'm willing to put my bet on it that if you go to Year-End Banquet and you don't feel it was worth your time or your money, I will personally pay you back for Year-End Banquet and let you keep the free Cutco. How's that sound?
Yeah.
I have that much conviction. You need to be there. And if you've never been to a big event like that, you don't know what you're missing. But it's my responsibility as the leader and the manager to communicate on what you're missing and to convince you to go, right? That's why there's the inside joke, never get in the car with Nick, because I'm a closer. That's what I do. And you know where I developed those great skills of closing people, on opening up offices, going to great events, not making excuses, following through with their plans? I learned it from the sales with Vector and Cutco. I learned it by doing a lot of demos. I learned it by meeting with a lot of customers. And if you think it's hard now to confirm people for little bitty events like this, wait until you're in your future dream job. Because you don't get the choice of working with people you like. And you don't get the patience or the flexibility always, right? And you know what? At least we're confirming for people things that actually are awesome. Sometimes you have to firm people up for things that are not going to be so awesome at other jobs. You're going to have to make a sales pitch that actually might be against your morals, ethics, or values that you don't even want to go to, but you've got to sell somebody on why they should. Think about that. So take advantage of the experience that you can gain from this company and the way that you can break that down as we move things forward. And sorry for those of you, I know I was not scrolling through. It's all on here. Beautiful, though. The recording's going to suck. And I'm just kidding. All right. Well, let's wrap up, guys. I appreciate you guys for being on. A couple of assignments, okay? As far as the skills testing, I highly recommend role-playing this a few times, practicing it, but let's get a lot of people to our events. Okay. The next event I know we have coming up in the pilot is the potluck on Tuesday for our past reps coming back, and the holiday push. And then we also have the December 15th event that is coming up in December. And I'm fired up about that one. What was that?
We can't call it a holiday.
We cannot. We're going to call it a year-end celebration. It's going to be fantastic for other reasons. So let's wrap up, guys. A few assignments I'd like you to write down. The first one is send your holiday email. If you've not done that yet, you're literally missing out on significant amounts of money. I have a rep, right, that's returning from years and years ago. Hasn't sold the Cutco in like 7 years, right? Only had $3,000 in total business, maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 customers, right? But I got a connection, sent the email to that rep that's from this area, already sold over $1,100 from the email. That's what you're missing out on, okay? Get it done now and make sure you have a plan to follow up. Second assignment is you need to make sure that when your in Make What registration begins, get that done. Okay, third assignment, sell your Olean homemaker. Take, right, advice from people who didn't and waited till the last minute. Okay, not a good thing. Get it sold ASAP. Finish all your other assignments, right, from all leadership academies, especially with recordings for the feedback loop. And if you have not written your letter of intent to open up an office, get that to me. The sooner the better, but I want that by Thanksgiving, which is 1 week from now. So have a phenomenal night, guys. Go really big for push. We'll be right back on here in about 25 minutes. And for those of you listening to the recording, don't forget to make sure you send me, the DVM, as well as your district manager, your notes from this so we can confirm that we watched the recording and we played all in. Sound good? So other than that, guys, have a wonderful day. Next 25 minutes. We'll see you back on here at 6:30. Adios.